the great things about fiction is that you can introduce the reader to people they've never met before and might never meet, because, let's face it, some of them are very larger than life. And you can also introduce them to places that are exotic and wonderful that they might not ever be able to travel to. And, you know, even if they have traveled to these places, you can present them to them in such a way that they're new and different. When I got out of school, I got a job with an airline. And I traveled all over the world. Europe, Cuba, would you believe it, and throughout the United States. That's one of the benefits of working for an airline. And it was exposed me to all kinds of different cultures, all kinds of different situations. It was a great thrill, and later on, it helped enormously with my writing.
I get lots of inspiration from the places I go to, and sometimes, as in the case of Storm Cycle, I plan trips based on where I know part of the book is going to be set.
As you know, I usually set my books in very exotic locales. Well, maybe not all of them, but a good many. And yes, research does help enormously for all the details. You use the library for getting down to the nitty-gritty so that people will recognize the place, but you actually have to go to it to give them the atmosphere. When Roy and I wrote Silent Thunder, we placed it all along the eastern seaboard. Well, for the most part. We had some foreign locales also, but most of it took place there. But when we started working on the new book, we realized that it was going to be much broader in scope. It was going to be a real globetrotter.
I knew that some key scenes were going to take place in Egypt. So, too bad I had to wing off to Egypt just to check things out over there. And it's amazing. And you find out so much more by going to places rather than just reading about them in books to do your research, although that's an important part of the process too. But there's nothing like riding a camel through the Sahara Desert to the Great Pyramids, or standing inside King Tut's tomb for yourself, or walking hunched over through the burial chambers of one of the Great Pyramids. It's an incredible experience, and it allows you to describe it in the book, but also it provides you with a certain amount of wonder and awe that allows you to impart a feeling rather than just a physical description.
I went to Hearst Castle. I went to Arizona. I went to movie studios out in California, Las Vegas. I did not go to Egypt, and I did not ride a camel, although Roy did. They spit, you know.
On the way back from Egypt, we stopped in Paris and made a special trip to the Louvre, which has a terrific Egyptian collection. But a centerpiece of the collection is a mastaba, part of the tomb of Pesachet's son. Now, Pesachet is a key figure in this book, and we knew nothing about her until the tomb of her son was discovered in 1929. And we discovered that she was the head of an organization of female doctors in Cairo at around the time that the Great Pyramids were being built. And so for the purposes of this story, we decided that she would be the one to have developed a disease cure that she discovered, but that was soon lost due to some political intrigue that you'll have to read in the book to find out. And so our heroes are trying to discover this cure of hers. So it was an amazing experience to stand in the mastaba of her son, who was buried 4,500 years ago and whose existence was known only in the last 80 years or so. And again, this is something that I had read about and I knew about, but there's nothing like standing there inches away, face to face, being able to put my hand right over the carvings, that had been made, it was just an overwhelming experience.